Tonight you're not ready to tell us. Tomorrow morning. Yeah. Don't forget to bring them. Right. Hey, da 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 da. Hey, da 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 da. Bum bum bum. Hey, da 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 da. Hey, da 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 da. Da da da. Hey, da 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 da. Ya da da, ya da da, ya da da, da 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 da.
3, 4.
Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. It's nice to see you. I'm glad you came. Bim, bum, bim, 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 bum, bim, 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 bum, 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 bim, bum, bim, 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 bum, bim, 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 bum, bum, bum. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Hey.
Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Hey.
Shabbat shalom.
Hey.
Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat shalom.
Hey.
Shabbat shalom.
Hey.
Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everybody. No, you're not seeing double. Actually, triple. I look just like them, don't I? Shabbat shalom, everybody. It's good to have you with us, joining on this Friday night, where we've got a bar mitzvah weekend with the Pincus boys, Tyler and Jacob. Of course, if we do this,
Oh.
or Jacob and Tyler. All right, go back in the other place. Tonight will be fun. We'll have a good time. So we always start off every week with good news, as you know, good news. And Adele's going to be our spokesperson tonight, our Vanna. So anybody with some good news, if you have some, please. Me? Yeah. Oh, you want to start?
You have to say your name.
You have to say your name and you stand up.
And speak into the microphone.
You have to say your name and stand up.
Hi, My name is Jacob, and this weekend is my B'nai Mitzvah.
My name is Tyler, and this weekend's my B'nai Mitzvah.
So just so you'll know, you both are B'nai Mitzvah. Today is your Bar Mitzvah, and this is your Bar Mitzvah, okay? We're celebrating your B'nai Mitzvah, and hopefully for the rest of your lives, you will be celebrating them either together or alone. But it's a Bar Mitzvah weekend, so we're enjoying that. Is there anybody else with some good news? If you are, lift your hand, and we'll try to get this to work.
Hi, tell us your name.
Andy Hirschlap, and my son Joshua is doing a presentation at the American Heart Association conference this week in Chicago.
And I can say I was his Mechina teacher.
Anybody else? Good news? Good news. I think Paula. No, yeah.
State your name.
Paula Dolan. I would like to wish Rabbi Bernie Mazel Tov and Anita and the Kepnesses on tomorrow's also Ari Kepnesses Bar Mitzvah. So Mazel Tov to all the Pincusses and to Rabbi Bernie and family.
Absolutely. Mazel tov to them. You guys picked a great beach weekend. Anyone else good news?
Anybody else?
Nope. Okay.
So I have good news.
Yeah, what do you got?
So I received an email from someone telling me that he lectured at LaSalle College yesterday, and that he got an email back from one of the professors saying what a difference he made in the lives of all of those students. So Toda Rabba, Rabbi Perman.
Thank you. Yeah, we actually talked about something I'll be talking about later, and that's anti-Semitism. So it was very, very appropriate and timely. So thank you for that. All right, so let's begin. Speaking of no more anti-Semitism, no hate. You know, I don't ever use that word. You know that, right? I don't use that word. During the Ecclesiastes reading, there's a time to love and a time to, right? I say a time not to love. You've all heard me say that because I don't believe in hate. I don't believe there ever is a time for hate, but we'll talk more about that. Like, right? Time for peace, right? Time for peace. And that's why we start off our service with the angels of peace, welcoming them on page 13, and we're going to sing together, Shalom Aleichem. Ready? Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 14. Yedi nefesh al harachaman mishoch avdach eretzonach yarutz avdach kemo ayam yishtachaveh amul hadarach yerav lo yedidutach Mino petzuk v'chotam ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya 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 la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Now Jacob and Tyler are going to lead us in the Sabbath prayer at the bottom of page 14, your Sabbath prayer. Dear God.
Dear God, help us now to make this a new Shabbat. After noise, we seek quiet. After crowds of indifferent strangers, we seek to touch those we love. After concentration on work and responsibility, we seek freedom to meditate, to listen to our inward selves. We open our eyes to the hidden beauties and the infinite possibilities in the world you are creating. We break open the gates of the reservoir of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. We reach toward one holy, perfect moment of Shabbat.
And we'll now turn to the next page, page 15, Lechu Neranana. Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana, Lechu Lechu Nerana Ladonai, Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana, Lechu Lechu Nerana Ladonai, Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu Nekama, Pana Betoda, Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, Bizmiro Naria Lo, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Lechu Nerana Ladonai, Lechu Neranena, Neranena, Lechu Lechu Nerana Ladonai, Ki Gadol. Arba'im shana akut bedor v'yomaram to'yile bavhem v'hem lo yadu drachai asher nishbati v'yapi im yivavun el menuchati. Now they're going to lead us responsibly on page 16. They will lead us. Ready? Together.
Sing a new song to Adonai. Acclaim Adonai, all people on earth.
Sing to Adonai, proclaim each day God's awesome might. Announce to the world God's glory and wonders.
For Adonai is great, deserving of praise. Adonai alone is to be revered as God.
All the gods of the nations are nothingness. Adonai created the heavens.
Majesty and might accompany God. Splendor and strength adorn God's sanctuary.
Acknowledge Adonai, all families of nations. Proclaim God's majestic power. Acknowledge God's glory and bring him tribute.
Worship Adonai in resplendent reverence. Let the earth tremble in God's presence.
Declare to the world Adonai is sovereign. God has steadied the world which stands firm and judges all nations with fairness.
Let the heavens rejoice, let the earth be glad, let the sea and all contained exult.
Let field and forest sing for joy. Adonai comes to rule the earth, rule the world justly, the nations. V'hifnei Adonai ki ba lishbot haaretz, yishbot tevel b'tzedek, v'yamim be'emunato. Let's turn to page 20. Let's rise from Mizmor LeDavid. Play page 20. We rise. Mizmor LeDavid, havu l'Adonai, b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai, kavod ba'oz, havu l'Adonai, kavod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai behar kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim Adonai al mayim rabim, kol Adonai ba'akoach, kol Adonai be'hadar, kol Adonai shover ha'razim, v'yishaber Adonai et arzei avanon, v'yarkidem kemo egel, Lebanon besirion kemo ben remim, kol Adonai chotzev lavot eish, kol Adonai yachil Adonai mibar kadesh, kol Adonai yecholel ayalot, ויחשוף יערות, ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני למה בו ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, Adonai Yevarech et Amo V'Shalom. You may be seated, page 21, Lechad Dodi, every other stanza. Lechad Dodi Likrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat Nekabela. Lechad Dodi Likrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat Nekabela. Shamor V'Zachor V'Dibor Echad. Ishmiyanu el amiuchad, Adonai echad, u'shmo echad, l'shem u'teferet v'letila. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likra kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha, kumitzeim metoch ha'apecha, rav lakshev be'emek habacha, v'hu yachmol alayichem lecha dodi lekra kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi lekra kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hidoreri, Hiva orech kumiori, ori, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich migla. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi lekra kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. V'hayu limshisa shosayich, v'rachaku kol mebalayich, yasis alayich Elohayich, kimsos chatana kala. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likra kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam besimcha u'betzahala, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lecha lodi, lecha dodi likra kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likra kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. And you may be seated this time. The guys are going to lead us in the Psalm for Shabbat, page 23. They will lead us responsibly, page 23.
It is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God.
And your faithfulness each night, to the music of the lute and the melody of the harp.
Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation.
How vast your works, Adonai, your designs are beyond our grasp.
The thoughtless cannot comprehend, the foolish cannot fathom this.
Become like grass, but then who can see, for you are supreme forever.
Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish, all the wicked shall crumble.
But me you have greatly exalted, and anointed with fragrant oil. I have seen down my foes, I have heard the despair of my attackers.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai. They will thrive in the courts of our God.
And we'll sing Tzadika Tamar, 4 lines from the bottom, page 23. Tzadika Tamar Yifrach Ke'erez Baponan Yizka Shetulim Bebeit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Od Yenuhum B'Seba B'Shenim B'Rananim Yeheyu Lehagid Yashar Adonai Tzuri V'lo Avlat Ahavo Adonai Malachol Edaveshul Beshul Eidotecha Nemnamod Lebeitcha Navar Kodesh Adonai Leorech Yamim. And now on page 24, those saying Kaddish or observing a Yortzeit, those saying Kaddish or observing a Yortzeit will rise for the mourner's Kaddish. 24. Yit Gadal, V'yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'alma Divrach Hirutei, V'amlich Malchutei, V'chayechon, U'vyomechon, U'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala U'bizman Kariv V'yamru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam, U'lomei Omaya. Yiparach, v'yishtabach, v'yipa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yitaleh, v'yithalal, shemei d'kudashah, barichu. Le'ela, min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, damiram v'alma v'yamru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yamru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. We're going to rise on page 28. The boys are going to lead us now in the Baruch Hu, page 28.
Baruch Adonai Hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Va'ed.
And you may be seated. Continue silently. Umavirim umaybi laila. Umavdil b'yom v'bein laila. Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayim tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai. Amari Baravim, page 29. Avat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shachbeinu u'pkumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ihem chayenu, v'yorech yameinu, u'vahem nehege, yomam v'layla, v'yavadchatas mimenu le'olamim. Baruch ata Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha, u'b'chol nefshecha, u'b'chol me'odecha, V'hayu havarim ha'ele asher anochim mitzavha hayom alavaveha Vishinantam levanecha vidibar kabam Vishivteha beitecha uvlateha baderech Ushalteha uvkumeha Ushartam liot al yadecha V'hayula totafo beinenecha Uvkavtam al mizuzo beitecha Uvisharecha.
And we'll continue silently through the bottom of 30. למען יבואו ימי בבניכם על האדמה אשר נשבע אדוני לבותיכם לתת להם כימי השמיים על הארץ. Together, page 31. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף ותיל תכלת והיה לכם לציצית וריתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Page 32. ומלכותו ורצון קיבלו עליהם משה בני ישראל הכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף למלכותך ראו בניך בוקיים לפני משה זה אלינו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ונאמר כבראי את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גואל ישראל. And now the Hashkivenu in English, page 33. The boys will lead us. Page 33.
Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace, and awaken us again, our sovereign to light. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace, now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praised are you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Ushmor tzeitenu Avoinu l'chaim ul'shalom me'ata ve'yad olam u'pros aleinu sukat shalom echa baruch ata Adonai haporech sukat shalom aleinu v'yal kol amo Yisrael v'yal Yerushalayim. Let's rise on page 34. The boys are going to lead us in Vishamru, page 34. 1, 2, 3.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-shabbat, לעשות את השבת, לדור תמברית עולם.
Olam
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדור תמברית עולם.
Beni ובני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדור תמברית עולם.
איש ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את
השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדור תמברית עולם.
וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל
את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדור תמברית עולם. יקדל ויקדש שמי רבה,
Amen.
ביעמד יברכותי, ביעמיק מלכותי, בחיי הון וביומי הון, ובחיי כל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן.
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם אלוהי יומיה יפרע וישתבח, ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה
ברכו.
לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבעתה ונחמתה, גם עירם ביומה ויאמרו.
Amen. The Amidah will be silent beginning page 35, A or B, your choice, through page 38. This is a time for personal and private meditation, reflection. When you have completed the Amidah, you may be seated. Shalom, Rabbi Yisrael. And now we'll turn on page 38. Boys are going to lead us in the English passage. We'll stop at the word Redeemer, and we will sing the song for Shalom. Together, my God.
My God, keep my tongue from evil, my lips from lies. Help me ignore those who would slander me. Let me be humble before all. Open my heart to your Torah, that I may pursue your mitzvot. Frustrate the designs of those who plot evil against me. Make nothing of their shem. Act for their sake of your compassion, your power, your holiness, and your Torah. Answer my prayer for the deliverance of your people. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, my rock and my redeemer.
Oseh shalom bimramav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, bam bam shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, bam bam, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, bam bam, yaseh shalom, bam bam, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimaru. And may the one who brings peace to his universe bring peace to us, to all the people of Israel. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, and all who dwell on God's earth. And let us say, Amen. You think we should pray for people that are sick? Yeah, I think we should. We are going to make a Misha Berach for those who are ill. And when I stop, if you wish to say the name or names of people that you are praying for Refuah Shlema, who aren't feeling well, you may do so either out loud or silently in your heart or in your mind. Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech v'yarafei et כל החולים בקהילה קדושה, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם להחזיקם, ולפורתם בישלח להם מהרה. רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, פורת הנפש, פורת הגוף, תושבי חולי ישראל, שבתים ולזעוק, ובוקר לבוא השתה, ואגב הזמן קריב ונאמר, amen. May God bring blessing and healing to all those we've just mentioned, all those we know of and those we may not know of, those on our personal lists, and those who suffer illness within the congregational family. May the Holy One mercifully restore them to health and to vigor, granting them physical and spiritual well-being together with people everywhere who are ill. We'll sing together. Misha Be'erach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Be'erach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with Refuah Shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Now we're going to turn to page 47. We'll ask you to rise for Vayechulu. Page 47, we rise together. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tevam vayechal Elohim b'yom hashvi'i melachto asher asa vayishpot b'yom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayikadesh oto ki bo shabbat mikol melachto ki bo shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim Asher bara Elohim lahaso. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor B'Hanora El Elyon, Konei Shamayim Ba'aretz. And now you may be seated, and whoever is going to be volunteering to pass out the wine and the grape juice will do so now at this time. Any volunteers? Now is the time to do it. Magen Avo Bivaro Mechaye Meitim B'Mamaro Ha'el HaKadosh She'en Kemohu Amen Yachli B'Yom Shabbat Kodsho Kivam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem Kivam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem לפניו נבוא ביראה ופחד ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד מעיון הברכות אל ההודעות אדון השלום מקדש השבת ומברך שביעי ומניח בקדושה לימדו שני עונג זכר למעשה בראשית, page 48. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצה במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך. צווינו מטובך, ושמחנו בשועתך. וטהר ליבנו לעבדך באמת, והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו, באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך, ינוחו ישראל מקדשי שמך, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Kaddish Shalem, page 48.
Yikadav Yikadav Shemei Rabbah, V'yamadi V'rakute, V'yamich Mahute, V'yachon V'yamechon V'ychol D'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agalav V'zman Karim V'yimeru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevora, Li'olam Ilom Ve'omaya, Yibarach, Yiba'ar V'yishabat, V'yipa'ar V'yishama V'yinaseh, V'yatadar v'yatalel v'yatalal shemei dekudesha v'rehu le'lam yimkol bercharta v'shirata tushbahata v'ne'emata dami ram b'yama v'yimeru. Amen. Tekabal slotonu va'uhon Dehol Yisrael kadam avuhon di bishmaya v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'hayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mermav Hu Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen.
All right, so we're going to start with the Kiddush, and during the Zoom days, right? Remember the Zoom days when we were locked in our homes almost every Friday night for like a year plus. Not Tyler, but Jacob would lead the Kiddush every Friday night. It was the highlight of the night, right? So we're going to kind of sort of reenact that, but we have two of them here tonight. We don't want to, we don't. Zach, could you do me a favor? Could you stand up here for just a sec? I'm not going to make you stay here. I just want you to come here for a second. I want you to come up here for a second. Zach, you may remember what I did with you with your bar mitzvah. Remember I told you to hold the Kiddush cup up at the height that you thought you might be when you reached the time when you would get married. Remember that? Remember that? And so I think you held it up to here. You said you wanted your partner to be about that height, right? So at this point, now how high would you want us to be? Yeah, there you go. Because you're still growing, right? You still are growing. Boy, how many years ago was that?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah, look what he did in 3 years. Now I'm standing here standing here between these guys tonight, and I just realized something. You're already taller than me already too, right? So what I told you, and I'm going to tell them, is that when you had your bris, do you remember that?
No.
You don't either. So when you had your bris, the moil had wine there to sanctify God, and it was joyous. As a matter of fact, I'll bet you, I'll bet you even had some wine at the time, on a little gauze pad, right? They stuck it in your mouth to keep you quiet. But anyway, when we have a simcha, when we have a family simcha, we usually have wine, right? Like we did for your bar mitzvah. And I usually tell the bar or bat mitzvah, hey, look, this is the second life cycle event, and now you get to hold the Kiddush cup. But the next life cycle event is going to be your wedding. And as I said to Z, hold that Kiddush cup up as high as you want your partner to be in life, right? So you have a second chance. You never thought you were going to have that, right? But let's see how your brothers do. Jacob, how tall do you think you would like? I have him up here for a reason. I want you to look at him. I want you to see how he grew, right? So now, how tall do you want your partner in life? You go sit back down. Thank you, Z. You didn't know this was coming. How tall do you want your partner to be in life? Taller than you, shorter than you? Remember, you might grow a little.
Like right now.
Right there? You good with that?
No.
No, when you're at the wedding. I mean, you're not getting married next week, are you? You have anything you want to tell us? Yeah, about wedding next week too. Okay. Tyler, you get one too. So, I mean, your brother's going to do the Kiddush, but what do you think? You think you'll get married someday, maybe?
Yeah, well,
possibly?
I guess I'll do it right here.
There you go. So we're going to rise. What they're doing is they are technically presenting the wine to God. So bring it back up again. Present it to God. This is reenacting what the Kohen Gadol did, by the way, in the temple. Actually, he would take the Kiddush cup, and I don't want you to do this, and he would present it like this. He would hold it out like this. But of course, my hand's shaking, so I don't want that to do it. All right, here we go. The Kiddush is on page 49. 1, 2, 6.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri gafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'yahava uvratzon hinolanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehila l'mikrayei kodesh, zeher l'tziyah Mitzrayim, ki banu v'harta, liotanu kidashta, mikol ha'im, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'yahava uvratzon, in haltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Jen, how did you make such tall children? Unbelievable. Okay, you guys can finish that or whatever. Don't take it all.
Yeah.
You can put it over there. Do either one of you want to give the Devar Torah, or should I? You want to give my Devar?
Yeah.
That's not. I tell you, I could do this every week. They really are something, aren't they? I'm going to amend my Devar just a touch because Adele mentioned earlier that I lectured yesterday. There was one class that I lectured to who were athletes. And they asked me about what I thought some of the statements that have been made by some of these athletes, what do they call them? Their mentors were making about Jews. And I talked about it to them openly and honestly. And I expressed to them, they were of color, and I expressed to them that, for people of color, how could you hate? Hate anybody, given the fact that, people have gone through hatred and slavery and bigotry. How can you hate? And, that wasn't a good enough answer. So the second part of my conversation was, so have you seen the flyers, not the flyers, but the banners that have been hanging around the highways that say Jews did 9/11? And they said, what? They said, what? They didn't even know what I was talking about, right? We know because we care, right? But I said, yeah, they're putting banners around. It's all over. It's in Rhode Island. It's in Boston. It's happening around the country. Jews did 9/11. And they said, what? I said, do you think Jews did 9/11? Of course not. I said, who did 9/11? Now, one of them knew, thank God, they were too young. And I looked at them and I said, God bless you. I looked at them and I said, evil did 9/11. Evil. I said, did you notice something? I didn't declare a race. I didn't declare a religion. I didn't declare a people. I didn't point the finger at anybody in particular other than hate. And I said, there's no room in this world for hate. We need to stop blaming individuals and start blaming everybody who hate. And they all looked at me and went, wow. We never looked at life that way. So I thought I have something completely different to talk about tonight, but since you mentioned it, I thought I would bring that up because to me, to watch the faces of these young people who are listening to this Chazarai, the stuff that's being spewed about, and we heard about the other one, the basketball star, I want to mention his name, who finally said, I'm sorry today because it cost him $1 million to do so. Am I talking politics? Shh. It was over $1 million, right? For $1 million, I'll say I'm sorry. Look, we don't need this. And it's not just anti-Semitism, it's anti-anybody. So I was reading an article on anti-Semitism the other day. Unfortunately, there are more and more of them being written these days. This one was written by a man who was recalling his youth in Texas. So please allow me to read it to you, and then I will show you how it makes this Shabbat's Torah reading so relevant. The gentleman goes on to write. It was during my sophomore year in high school. It was around 3 a.m. and my entire family was awakened by the sound of an explosion coming from the right outside of my house. We all ran outside and found our yard on fire. My older sister's car windshield was shattered, and our brick-mounted mailbox could be seen in pieces spread all over the place. My sister ran inside and called 911. When the first responders arrived, they told us that someone had placed a pipe bomb in the mailbox. We did not need them to tell us that there were painted swastikas painted on the car and burned into the front lawn. You're lucky the mailbox blew the other way. It could have gone into your living room, the fire department told us. As we sat in our living room in my pajamas watching the red lights flicker through the windows, I noticed a look in my father's eyes. Something told me that this moment had a kind of familiarity to him. It was as if he was channeling generations of ancestors who had lived through anti-Semitic attacks even worse than this. I sensed that he was briefly transformed from a suburban Texas dad to an immortal Jewish man, preparing to have the eternal intergenerational talk with his children about what it means to be a Jew in the world. After a few minutes, he looked at me with a strength in his eyes that I had never noticed before, and he said to me, "You are going to school tomorrow." Shocked, I felt that if there was ever an excuse not to go to school, it had to be what we just experienced. Then, before I could say anything, my dad told me something that has remained with me even to this day, with a resolve that only comes from the collected wisdom of generations. He said, "If you don't go, they win. They want to scare us and define us, and don't let them do that. Be proud, be yourself. Never forget that you carry a Jewish soul that has survived even worse attacks that have gone on for thousands of years. Go to school, talk about what happened, and let everyone know that we Jews do not give in to anti-Semitism." What happened in that moment was profound truth. My father was right. If I didn't go to the school the next day, these anti-Semites, they would win. Not by scaring us, but by defining us. They wanted us to feel unwanted, to feel insecure, to feel undesirable, to feel unwelcomed in society. They wanted us to live our lives by their rules. They wanted us to live as if we were secondary and inferior people in their midst. If I stayed home from school, they would be able to brag about their story instead of me telling mine. So the story ends. And then there's the next story. The greatest activist Frederick Douglass wrote a book entitled Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American slave. He writes, I have found that to make a contented slave, it is necessary to make a thoughtless one. It was his way of saying that when slaves internalize their condition and cannot conceive of any other way to live, slavery becomes complete. The thing is, nobody needs to have been a slave to know what Douglass meant. But to the Jew, the meaning is clear as glass. Who here has not felt the sting of a remark, a joke, fired or not hired from a job, or even physically attacked just because we are Jews? How many of us feel sick to our stomachs when we hear of crimes committed by a Jewish person? We know how we all are blamed. After all, the world thinks that we are all the dirty Jews, even without that kind of news. In this context, let us look at this Shabbat's Torah reading. Until now, the book of Bereshit focuses on the creation of the world and the movement of time and tides. The Torah reading shifts our focus to a man and woman, Avram and Sarai, an elderly couple who were on the road from Ur, which today is Iraq, to Haran, which today is Syria. Avram and Sarai brought their extended family with them, and God calls out to Avram, you go from your native land, from your parents' house, to the land that I will show you. With this one line, Avram and Sarai begin a journey to become the most influential human beings who have ever lived. This couple are the ancestors to millions of Jews, billions of Christians, and billions of Muslims. After a lifetime of living in his parents' house, Avram and Sarai leave to follow God's direction. Nobody in history has ever done that before. Perhaps God has asked others to do this before Avram and Sarai, but clearly they did not listen. The Torah is incredibly poetic when it says in Hebrew, Lech lecha. Literally, it means go, you go. But the sages want us to understand it as an idiomatic expression meaning go for yourself. First time in the Tanakh, God chose a set of human beings to write their own story. Adam was given a garden and told to till and to tend it. Noah was commanded to build an ark. Avram was told to go for yourself, and only then God would show him where to go. Before they would go, God would not tell them where to settle. It was only when Avram and Sarai were able to start to write their own story, to own their full power of their lives, did God show them the rest of their path. Now, what do we learn from this? Perhaps the most important journey in our lives is the one that allows us to write our own story, even if we do not yet know who we are. Taking the steps on our journey that are not based on what others expect us, that is how we claim our power. The journey can begin at any age, regardless if we're teenagers or octogenarians. At any moment during our lives, we can choose to free ourselves from what was and became and becomes the person we were meant to be, to go for yourself. By the way, the writer of the story I began with today said that he went to school the next morning. He said that he looked around his chemistry class, not knowing if any of those around him were at his home the night before. He said that he was certain of one thing: just by being there, he didn't let them win. As tired as he was after having so little sleep that night before, he was truly full of energy. I say it was because it was the first morning in his life that he was going to write his own Jewish story. Why? Because as this Shabbat's Torah reading tells us, he went for himself. Tomorrow, the two gentlemen sitting behind me will be standing, each of them for themselves, with their own story to write. They will teach us more about this week's Parsha. Both of them, however, will share with us who they are, not as the twins, but as Jacob and Tyler. And I'm certainly looking forward to that. I hope you are too. And with that, I say Shabbat Shalom. All right, guys, please join me. We'll rise, page 51 for Aleinu. Please rise, page 51, Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adonacho, l'tekedu l'aliotze reshit, shalo asanu kagoye haratzon, v'lo samanu kimitroto hadama, v'lo asanu kahem, v'gor aleinu v'kol amona, v'nachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, Livnei melech malkel hamakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, she'unotei shamayim v'yotzei haaretz, v'yoshev ro v'shamayim imo, ushminatu zo, v'gorem meromim, Hu Eloheinu leino, Et melkeinu efesulato, kakatu v'torato, v'datayam v'hashivo, Yalonai Elohim, Bashamayim me'ah, v'yaharet, v'itaha, Kakatu v'toratecha, Adonayim lo le'olam va'ed, v'nemar v'haya Adonai, v'melech kol ha'aretz, hayom ha'hu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo,
At this time, you may be seated. We'll remember with love this week's Yortzites: Herbert Cantor, Nate Berland, Eva Levine, David Rossoff, Faye Saul, Lillian Becker, Jacques Shamuel, Bess Littner, Marion Tanterholtz, Louis Brownrout, Charles Greenberg, Leonard Hillman, Barbara Leibowitz, Jeannie Scheibel, and Donna Stromley. Are there any other Yortzites? May the faith that binds us to our loved ones be a continuing source of comfort as we invite those mourning and observing a Yortzeit to now rise and join us as we recite the words of the Mourner's Kaddish together, page 52. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'bizman kari v'yamru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam, Olomeo Maya. Yiparach, V'yishtabach, V'yipa'ar, V'yipramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, V'yitaleh, V'yithalal, Shemei D'Kedusha Barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata B'shirata, Tushbachata V'nechemata, Gamiram V'alma V'yimru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mroma, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yimru Amen. You may be seated, and at this time, it is my honor, my privilege, to call Paula Dolan for tonight's announcements. Paula? Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and Mazel Tov to Jen and Roy and Tyler and Jacob. I'm sure it will be a delight to see these boys tomorrow doing that, and look forward to watching it on Zoom-mobile. Tomorrow morning services begin at 9:30 a.m. Again, Mazel Tov to Roy and Jennifer on their sons Jacob and Tyler B'nai Mitzvah. Thank you for hosting our Kiddush lunch tomorrow. Evening minions begin Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. in person and virtual. Please join us this Sunday morning for Minion. Join us for bagels and study. Save the date of Monday, November 7th for Adult Ed's book review of Gateway to the Moon by Mary Morris. Friday evening next week, November 11th, join us as we celebrate our veterans for their service at our Friday evening service. The Sisterhood Paid Up Supper will take place on Wednesday, November 16th. Please RSVP to Loretta Band. The next Lunch and Learn will take place on Thursday, November 17th. Saturday evening, November 19th. Join Rabbi Perlman for a $100 service on Zoom only. The community interfaith service will take place on Tuesday, November 22nd at 7 p.m. at St. Facilio's Greek Orthodox Church at Paleologa Street in Peabody. Please note our evening menu will take place at 6 p.m. TNT is also having a coat drive, a toy drive, and a gift card collections. Check your e-blast for more information. As you can see, there is a lot happening at TNT. Information for all events can be found on our weekly e-blast. Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov again to all of you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Paula. Okay, guys, you can come over. They're going to finish up the service on page 54 with Adonolam. They requested it. It was a special request to do Adonolam tonight, and I said, why not? You know, after all, I mean, they're awesome, aren't they? They really are. So let's conclude with Adonolam. Boys, take it away.
Adon Olam, Asher Malah, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nira, Li'et Nasa, Behester Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, B'yahare, Kilo Takol, Liv Ado Yimloch Nara Adon Olam, V'hu Haya, V'hu Over, V'hu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam, Asher Malah, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Li'et Nasa, Behester Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Ehad, V'yein Sheni, L'hamtilo B'hapira Adon Olam, B'li Reishi, B'li Tachli, V'lo Ha'od V'hamisra Adon Olam, Asher Malah, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Li'et Nasa, Behester Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Eli, V'hu Agali, V'tor Hivli B'yetzara Adon Olam, V'hu Nisi, Umanosli, Minakosi B'yom Mikra Adon Olam, Asher Malah, B'terem Kol, Yishir Nira, Li'et Nasa, Behester Kol, Azai Melech Shimoni Kra Adon Olam. Biado Afkid Ruhi. B'ye Ishan V'ha'ira Adon Olam. Vayim Ruhi. Givayati. Adon Ali V'lo Ira Adon Olam. Adon Olam. Asher Malah. B'terem Kol. Yitzir Nivra. Li'ed Nasa. Behesed Kol. Azai Melech Shimoni Kra Adon Olam.
Shabbat shalom to all of you. We'll see you folks in the back for a quick oneg, and those of you on Zoom, Shabbat shalom to you, and your mics are open if you wish to wish each other a Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Nash clock, boys.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Around that. I'm not sure about that, but I know there's gonna be a lot of Yeah.
And I knew you did. That's why I wasn't worried. Right? I didn't talk to myself.
Yeah. I'll see you.
Yeah,